President Trump, future President Trump, well, President Trump, incoming President Trump, has stated that Liz Cheney and others have committed crimes, deleting congressional documents demanded by congressional Republicans. Democrats' committee accused of deleting over 100 files before GOP took control of House. This is a story that has been reported on for several years now. The possibility that Democrats did indeed destroy evidence, exculpatory evidence. So there was obviously video released that exonerated numerous people and had their prison sentence ended because the exculpatory evidence was released that was withheld by the committee, but also information that could have completely exonerated President Trump. And, well, Trump was exonerated. The Supreme Court backed him over the state of Colorado. The state of Colorado wanted to ban Trump, but hit subscribe to this channel right now. You will hear from President Trump in a second. But this is a Washington Times article. Democrats committee accused of deleting over 100 files. These are felonies, ladies and gentlemen, if indeed, and they almost certainly, I mean, Democrats and Never Trump Republicans have been accused of deleting records, files. We know that Clinton deleted emails that were technically government emails because the servers were connected to government, the private servers were connected to government servers. So then you had a destruction of records there. But this goes hand in hand with what's been taking place. There was a destruction of records and text messages and information during the Mueller probe. You have a possible destruction of evidence, exculpatory evidence, evidence that would lead to perhaps corruption within the committee against Trump. So this is a Washington Times article. Now, the now defunct House Select Committee on January destroyed more than 100 encrypted files from its 2021 investigation before Republicans took over the chamber, House investigators say. Representative Barry Loudermilk, the Georgia Republican leading the House Administration Committee's oversight investigation, said his computer forensic investigators discovered 117 files deleted by the committee. He's demanding former leaders of the committee to hand over passwords to the encrypted files. And you have this paragraph. It's the latest twist in a month-long back-and-forth struggle between GOP investigators and the defunct Democrat-run committee's former chairman, Representative Benny Thompson of Mississippi, about the whereabouts of video recordings of witness depositions, transcripts, and other missing records. Where are the depositions? Where are the video recordings of the depositions and transcripts and witnesses? Representative Loudermilk said there is ample evidence of missing records from the committee investigation run by Mr. Thompson and Representative Liz Cheney, the Republican Trump foe from Wyoming. Voters rejected in the 2022 GOP primary. Quote, it's obvious they went to great lengths to prevent Americans from seeing certain documents produced in their investigation. It also appears that Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney intended to obstruct our subcommittee by failing to preserve critical information and videos as required by House rules. In a letter to Mr. Thompson last week, Mr. Loudermilk said his computer forensic team was able to recover the 117 deleted digital records from hard drives archived by the committee. Once recovered, the file disclosed the identity of an individual whose testimony was not archived. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So we don't, I'm not 100% sure from what I just read whether they were able to recover or maybe they have some of the files but can't get to the files because of the password issue. But there's an attempt at withholding and concealing information. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. The Freak, thank you so much. Paul Bartlett, thank you. Let's get started, everybody. There's also a Fox News article here. House GOP report alleges January committee deleted records and hid evidence. But let's get started.
Cheney was behind it, and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think?
I think everybody anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think.
Don't you love that when the journalist asks Trump, are you going to direct your director? And then it's Democrats who preside over endless investigations, prosecutions of Trump. But there's never a mention that President Obama directed his intelligence agencies to accuse Trump of being an operative of the Kremlin. There's never a mention of Biden directing his Federal Bureau of Investigation director and others on the state level of prosecuting Trump. It's always just a mere coincidence that everyone works in lockstep against Trump. But here, ladies and gentlemen, here's the full interaction.
About some of this new reporting. NBC News is reporting that President Biden is considering giving preemptive pardons to the likes of Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, and Anthony Fauci. If President Biden doesn't issue those pardons, do you think they are going to wish that he had? Are they going to be pursued?
I can tell you this about Cheney, and she's a so-called Republican. I think she hurt the Democrats terribly. When I saw that Kamala put Cheney out on the campaign trail, I said, that's the end of Kamala. I really did. I thought it was a terrible move, especially if you're a Democrat. But Cheney did something that's inexcusable, along with Thompson and the people on the Unselect Committee of political thugs and, creeps. So the Unselect Committee went through a year and a half of testimony. Wait. They deleted and destroyed all evidence of that they found. You know why? Because Nancy Pelosi was guilty. Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 troops. You wouldn't have had a J6 because other people were guilty. The people that said that I attacked 2 Secret Service agents in a car. I grabbed one around the neck. I was then rebuffed, and I grabbed the other one. These are 2 of the toughest men anywhere on the planet. They happen to be slightly younger than me, maybe, just a little bit. Let me just tell you. They testified. They said it was total. And all of this stuff came out. People lied so badly. Now, listen, this was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir?
And Cheney was behind it. And so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think everybody anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that, it carries weight, though. You've tapped these people to lead the.
I showed you last night the speech with Biden in front of Marines and a red backdrop talking about how people who support President Trump are a menace to democracy. I think that holds weight, too. I think that Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers and Stephen Colbert every single night, along with MSNBC, CNN, The Washington Post, The New York Times, The Atlantic, 50 other publications, and then you have NBC News and CBS and ABC News to a lesser extent. And then you used to have Twitter and social media algorithms all working for one cause, essentially. Pushing one political narrative. Choosing one political party, the Democratic Party. Then you have Hollywood and Robert De Niro and others choosing the Democratic Party. I think that holds weight also. Well, it used to hold weight, but Trump won the popular vote. normally that would be, trying to tip the scales in one direction. But with Trump, it's always, the thing with Trump is that he could never in a million years get away with what Democrats have gotten away with.
Justice Department and FBI.
They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
Biden can give him a pardon if he wants to, and maybe he should. Just remember, unselect committee, a year and a half of sworn testimony, and after getting all of the testimony, they deleted it, and they destroyed almost everything. There's nothing left. It's unprecedented.
And they denied
If you
doing
do that in a civil case.
And the journalist here is saying, correctly saying, they denied it. Well, but you had Trump denying that he was a Kremlin operative for years and years, and yet Democrats and media did not believe the denial, which happened to be accurate, like 100% accurate. He was telling the truth. It was the entire American political system that was lying. Trump was never an operative of another country. Conversely, we had a laptop full of potential bribery and graft that, oh, by the way, Hunter is now pardoned. He's now pardoned because the same Democrats who said it was an information campaign by another country to deceive you, those same Democrats are now defending the pardon of Hunter, which really is the pardon of Joe. You can't prove anything regarding bribery and graft with Joe Biden if Hunter's pardoned. But, I mean, that's also a question mark. You could probably prove a lot, even with the pardon.
Case, you go to jail.
You know, they deny doing that. And officials say that the order never came in for the National Guard.
But
on January 6th, let me ask you this about January 6th. I think
Benny
you're going to want to
Thompson
answer
wrote
this.
in a statement that he has destroyed all evidence.
Let me ask you this about
It's
January
amazing.
6th.
I wish you could be you have such potential. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you, they deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows it. And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying they deny it.
But where were the journalists saying that Trump denied these claims? Where were the journalists saying that Trump denied trying to foment a rebellion, that Trump denied any wrongdoing in the hush money nonsense that even the DOJ dropped, that Trump denied all the accusations about classified data and racketeering and all this nonsense that just, it completely evaporated in terms, all the legal cases against Trump are non-existent. Even the sentencing for New York has been postponed indefinitely because he won the popular vote and presidency for the second time, won every battleground state, took back the Senate. He won the Senate also. And everyone knows there was zero basis to convict Trump on misdemeanors that had already passed the statute of limitations. They said that the misdemeanors became felonies in New York because he knew that paying Stormy was a crime. According to 3 FEC chairmen, Trey Traynor, Hanze von Spakovsky, and Bradley Smith, he could have paid Stormy with dollar bills. It wouldn't have mattered. It's not an FEC crime. The FEC fined Clinton and the DNC. They did not fine Trump. They fined Clinton and the DNC for purchasing the Steele dossier. Only Trump is convicted for something he wasn't even fined over.
That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal. They have a committee sworn to, and because it was so bad, the only reason they did it is because the testimony turned out to be in favor of me. Like Secret Service testified and disputed everything. It made them into a bunch of liars. Not Secret Service, it made the people. They got rid of it because it made Nancy Pelosi, the mayor of D.C., so many people look like criminals. And I will tell you, it's illegal for them to delete and to destroy that evidence.
Let me ask you about January 6th in a different capacity, okay? I think you're going to want to answer this question. You promised to pardon those who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. Are you still vowing to follow through with that promise.
We're looking at it right now, most likely, yeah.
Well,
so you have, this is a March 12, 2024 article. Kash Patel at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Pam Bondi as Attorney General. John Ratcliffe as Central Intelligence. Tulsi Gabbard, who's an amazing pick, and they will all be confirmed for Director of National Intelligence, Office of Director of National Intelligence. So this has been a story for a long time. I mean, relatively, since March. Okay? This is not something that we just found out yesterday. You think maybe Kash Patel and John Ratcliffe know how to get information that was deleted? There was deleted and destroyed records with the Clinton email probe, with the Mueller probe, with the January committee. That's all they do. And you had people, they don't care if people who are innocent serve years and years in prison. They don't care. These are the morally superior among us. They don't care. When Tucker Carlson released that video footage of people being let into the building, you had prison sentences reversed. People were acquitted. And you don't hear liberal Democrats caring about the truth. Like, don't you want exculpatory evidence? Okay. These are the same liberals who watch 12 Angry Men and then say, oh my God, we need to just, save people from wrongful prosecution. And then when they're prosecuting people they think, trying to overthrow the country, they want to throw the book at them. Anyway, this is why Harriet Hageman won in resounding fashion.
It is great to see you.
Great to see you too, Stephanie. And here you go. It's Harriet Hageman. The margin is almost 2-1 over Liz Cheney here. What's basically happened here is what the polls suggested was going to happen, is what we've seen in other races like this with Republicans who supported impeaching Donald Trump after January 6th. What those races suggested might happen here. There are two areas here you see where Liz Cheney's done well tonight. One, this is Teton County. This is where Jackson Hole is. This is sort of the political outlier of Wyoming. It may look big geographically. It's only about 5% of the vote. Cheney cleans up there, and she cleans up down here in Albany County. This is also the only other county in Wyoming, along with Teton County, that went for Joe Biden in 2020. This is where the University of Wyoming is. These are going to be the two Cheney counties tonight, but everything else in the state is lighting up in Harriet Hageman's colors here, and she's winning by just some overwhelming margins, especially in smaller counties, in rural counties. Give you an example. Look at this. I mean, 90% of the vote right now. We still got a lot more to come there, but you're seeing margins like this outside of more of these population centers. So it just adds up to an overwhelming margin here tonight for Harriet Hageman. What this means in the grand scheme of things is we're now complete in terms of.
So I love the people of Wyoming. Beautiful state, beautiful people, and very intelligent. And, Liz Cheney loses by an overwhelming margin. And then still Democrats say this was a really good person to campaign with. I just don't get it. That's why Democrats lost so miserably in 24. They thought that Liz Cheney had some kind of political influence within the Republican Party and within the country. Her political influence is pretty much non-existent. It's actually, if you campaign with her, the opposite takes place. You're going to lose votes. Okay, but this is Harriet Hageman, and then we'll get back to what Trump was saying.
Harriet Hageman, the Wyoming congressional candidate who just defeated Liz Cheney. Harriet, first of all, congratulations. I remember talking to you before you decided you were going to throw your hat in the ring for real. And now, You got it, girl. You're going to be the nominee for the party, and I can't imagine you won't be the next congresswoman from the great state of Wyoming.
Well, thank you, Laura. It's wonderful to be back with you. We started this a year ago, or about 11 months ago, and here we are with all of the hard work and the support of the great people across the state of Wyoming and all of our volunteers and supporters. We've been able to succeed.
Did Liz Cheney call you and congratulate you? How was the tone of that conversation?
I haven't had an opportunity to visit with her. We have been kind of wrapped up in all of the stuff associated with what's going on.
Not to mention, Dick Cheney is one of the worst characters in U.S. history, in the history of this country, getting us into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, making the world less safe. You know, these people, Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, the old Republican Party, they think that they can just fall back on, well, the intelligence told us. We understand that intelligence is manipulated, oftentimes by whomever's in charge. And so they used intelligence against Trump. They used intelligence to justify sending Americans to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts where you don't know who the enemy is, where you have to rebuild a city or society and try to get the people on your side, but it's very, very difficult. It's virtually impossible to do so. And these are never-ending military conflicts that her father and others got us into.
Downstairs with our watch party. As you can imagine, we have several hundred people downstairs ready to celebrate, who've been celebrating. And so I have not been able to even look at my phone. So I don't know if she's called or not. So I don't really have anything to report on that.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you happen to hear that part of her speech was a continued vow, Harriet, to make sure Donald Trump never steps foot in the White House after what happened on January 6th, which was not surprising that she said that, but your reaction tonight?
Well, again, I have not had an opportunity to even see or hear what she had to say because I've been kind of focused on what's going on here. It doesn't surprise me that she would revert to those same old talking points because that's really in large part what got her defeated. She's not focusing on Wyoming. She's not focusing on our issues. She's still focusing on an obsession about President Trump. And the citizens of Wyoming, the voters of Wyoming, sent a very loud message tonight. We have spoken, and that is not what we are interested in terms of our lone congressional representative. Wyoming is entitled to have a representative that represents our interests, that listens to us, that addresses our issues. That isn't Liz Cheney, and the fact that that's where she went back to with her speech tonight, I think demonstrates that she really isn't listening to Wyoming now. She hasn't for quite some time, and that's why we needed to replace her. We need to have a representative in Wyoming who listens to us.
And Harriet, when I was lucky enough to spend quite a bit of time in Wyoming in July, the things that I heard most often from folks there were inability to get workers, the cost of fuel, and the cost of just basic living, rent and food. No one was focusing on Trump. I don't think anyone I talked to, that wasn't top of mind.
No, inflation, illegal immigration, and protection of our energy jobs are the issues that are the most important to Wyoming. And accountability. We actually expect our representatives to represent our interests. I've said that a couple of times now, but that's what I heard so much on the campaign trail. So I'm excited. Thank you for having us. It's a wonderful evening.
Harriet, congratulations. We can't wait to see what the future holds for you. You worked hard this campaign.
So you have Liz Cheney, who lost in resounding fashion. You know, it wasn't even close. 2-1, more than that. And she's no longer in Congress. Yet they were campaigning with her. And I don't understand Democrats or liberal Democrats who say, oh, Kinzinger and Cheney, good people. It's such a racket. Like, The only reason they're saying good people is that the Cheney and others are pretending to be never Trumpers. Liz Cheney voted, Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney voted over 90% of the time alongside Trump in Congress, according to 538. So when they were in government, all they did was vote in lockstep with President Trump. That's the best thing they ever did, actually.
At the heavy hitters, almost a month before Election Day, former President Obama is set to hit the campaign trail in battleground states starting next week. And Harris decided to hit the trail yesterday with former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, a Republican, but Donald Trump was not impressed.
I tell you, I have never voted for a Democrat, but this year I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
And because she did so, Trump won the popular vote. Thank God she voted for Harris.
Well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress. She was terrible. I really think it hurts. I think, frankly, if Kamala, I think they hurt each other. I think they're so bad, both of them.
Joe Conch is not bad.
No,
I
he's
checked.
good.
I confirmed. He is a Fox News contributor,
Yes.
and Joe joins us now. We know, Joe, the media absolutely eats up, loves the Cheneys, both Liz and Dick supporting the Democrat here. And you know the media is going to treat Obama stumping for Kamala as the second coming. The question is, will any of it matter? Will any of it impact the vote?
I think, Todd, to be honest with you, if you're on the trail as a Democrat with Liz Cheney, whose dad was called Darth Cheney, in essence, Darth Vader, and Liz Cheney is seen as a warmonger, and you want to be seen as the person who wants to end that war between Israel and Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran, that's the last person you want to be on a campaign trail with, especially considering she's one of the least popular Republicans perhaps of all time, when you look at that race she ran in Wyoming a couple of years ago, where she got beat by something like, 35 points? So, yeah, you want to tap the Cheneys to try to boost your campaign. That's bad. As for Obama, Barack Obama, let's remember when Donald Trump was elected in the first place. That was in 2016. And that was a referendum on the Obama presidency. So Kamala Harris, you know, she could call on all these Democrats of the past as much as she wants to help her campaign. But ultimately, this campaign is a referendum on her and her performance in the Biden-Harris administration. And right now, guys, if you look at the polling and you look at the trends, the momentum is clearly behind Donald Trump. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz need to make the case themselves ultimately. And if you look at interviews that Kamala Harris, like she did yesterday, which was a hot mess of a train wreck, and Tim Walz, who did so horribly during that debate, they're in serious trouble right now. If you look at this race objectively, you could call it Obama, Oprah, the Cheneys, all you want. I'm not sure it really helps at this point.
People don't understand whenever a wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat asks, well, why would you vote for Trump? Because he's the anti-war choice. Because he's the least militant. Okay, like, if there's a far left or liberal left-leaning side of this country, I don't even really know. They're so into dogma and doctrine, but they alter their value system endlessly. So these are the same people who will say, you're not a true leftist. And then they'll say, you know what, Liz Cheney, it's just fantastic she's supporting Trump. I mean, supporting Harris. And it's like, well, the obvious nonsense propaganda spin is, well, even this Republican, even the good Republicans don't like Trump because he's so far out and extreme. You know, the good Republicans like Kinzinger and Cheney, they're good people who put the country first. Ah. And it's like, well, how are you putting the country first if you want more wars and not less? You want more militancy, not less. It's a moral imperative to have voted for Trump. If you want less quagmires, military involvements, entanglements, conflicts. We didn't have all the problems we had when Trump was in office that we have now. Why is that? And see, the thing with Democrats is that they always feel so morally superior, but they don't understand that it was the immoral choice to vote for Harris. It was the choice of chaos on the world stage. Because we have chaos and instability on the world stage with Biden. We didn't with Trump. So what was the factor, the difference between the two administrations? Well, you had a whole bunch of invasions with Biden and Harris. You didn't have those invasions with Trump. Okay. And also you have with Trump a person who's less likely. I'm not going to say he will never, hopefully he will never, but he's infinitely less likely to just send Americans off throughout the planet because of an intel report that's almost always wrong. And so never Trump Republicans sent Americans to endless military engagements, endless, because of failed false intelligence reports. And then they continued with the false intelligence reports about Trump. Now you're going to have populist Republicans who have no interest in endless wars. And so it's a completely different ballgame. The same people who think that Trump is the immoral choice are the same people who are just fine with endless military conflict. They don't see it that way, but they're just fine with it.
All right, so the Harris-Walz campaign, they just landed another celebrity endorsement. Listen to this.
Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in my lifetime.
Didn't he sing Born in the USA? It was like, and the irony here is hilarious. He's the most, and he wins the popular vote. So then how, when Bruce Springsteen's viewpoint is worth the same as Robert De Niro and the ladies at The View, that's just sad. Because I like Bruce, I think he's fantastic, but it's like you're saying that things that are nonsensical. If he's such a danger to the country, why did he win the popular vote? Maybe even a great artist like Bruce Springsteen is living in an alternate universe. Maybe a bubble, maybe a Hollywood or music industry bubble, where the average person who loved his music, lives in a different world, where inflation and interest rates and endless military conflict, maybe that's a bad thing. Hollywood and the music industry are worlds of their own. And so they don't live in the world where, oh my God, eggs and milk and bread, these are all more expensive under Biden. Why is that? They don't see it that way. They just see Trump is mean. Therefore, he's just like a totalitarian from the 30s and 40s.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are committed to a vision of this country that respects and includes everyone. And they want to grow our economy in a way that benefits all, not just a few like me on top. That's the vision of America I've been consistently writing about for 55 years.
Okay, so Bruce Springsteen, that video came out yesterday.
Mortgage rates have doubled. And was he writing about this? Mortgage rates have doubled under Biden and Harris. We've had numerous global invasions under Biden and Harris. Most of the jobs created under Biden and Harris are government jobs, and government jobs that were when states opened up their economy after shutting down economic activity in Trump's last year in office, which they didn't have to do. That was a choice. Nobody had to do that. Okay, you didn't want to go out to a restaurant. You didn't have to have the entire state destroy their economies. So when people came back to work, Biden took credit for that, and then people who are not born here. And so it's like the economy was objectively worse. Inflation was at 9% at one point. Then interest rates were exponentially increased. Then, I don't know if Bruce Springsteen wrote about this, Biden and Harris flooded the country full of strategic petroleum reserves, which apparently isn't that great for the planet. Another racket that Democrats run. So they care so much about the planet, and they don't want to drill, but begging other countries for oil and gas, yes, or for oil and releasing millions of barrels of strategic petroleum reserves to lower the inflation that their administration said wasn't taking place. They said it was only temporary. So inflation goes to 9%, but then he still wants Harris and Biden, even though interest rates are through the roof.
But there's also this one. Watch this here.
I honestly, genuinely, fully, 100% sincerely believe.
Wow, Bruce Springsteen endorsed a Democrat.
Sarah Jane, thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Sarah Jane. Everyone in the super chat, thank you.
Running for president. Who's next? Joy Behar? I don't know. I could go through like a list of like all these celebrities. I mean, it's not news. I mean, this is who Bruce is. I'm a Jersey guy. I've been to Springsteen concerts.
New Jersey almost became, thank God, I love New Jersey also, love every state, but love the people of New Jersey, almost became a purple state. Look at the numbers. Trump did very well in New Jersey. If they just campaign there, Vance can actually win New Jersey. If they make a true push for New Jersey, they could win New Jersey. And it's just like Bruce Springsteen is an amazing artist. He was able in the 80s especially to reach the average American with his music, okay? But he's so far removed, like most celebrities, from the average American. That's why Trump won the popular vote. Because most of the things that like celebrities and musicians think about Trump, most of the things they attribute to Trump are false and fabricated, media-driven. You have celebrities who live and breathe public relations, and then they can't see the overt public relations spin against Trump. All they say, he's mean and he's rude. Well, President Obama doesn't have to be mean and rude. He could just simply have, of course, he didn't order it, but he can simply just preside over, with nothing to do with, intel agencies accusing an incoming president, Trump, in 2016 of being a Kremlin operative. So then you have endless media support. The Steele dossier purchased by Clinton and the DNC, which the FEC fined them over. They didn't fine Trump over any campaign issues. And then you have a McCarthy-era Red Scare. How does Bruce Springsteen's music, which is amazing music, he's an icon. How does this man's music, which spoke and resonated with the average American for decades, how does that correlate to creating a McCarthy-era Red Scare, accusing people of things of being an operative of the Kremlin, just like in the 50s and with the House Un-American Committee on Un-American Affairs? How is creating a McCarthy-era Red Scare? How does that correlate with his music? I don't get it. How do high interest rates and people who can't afford groceries, how does that correlate with his music? Endless wars, how does that correlate with his music? I just don't get it.
Like his music, disagree with some of his personal politics, I guess. But in the end, no, it doesn't help. It doesn't matter. This is how it works during every election. Celebrities, for the most part, like the Democrat, while they will not like the Republican. It doesn't do a thing. All it does, I guess, is reinforce perhaps the base, but it doesn't change one vote. That I'm certain of.
Yeah, two thoughts here. At the risk of losing my New Jersey.
CMW, thank you. Yes, I agree 100%. Thank you, CMW. Also, it's just like, that's just Bruce Springsteen. All of these people, like, do musicians understand that in major cities you have crime that's gone through the roof, inflation that's gone through the roof, foreign policy is a catastrophe, media have accused Trump of things he didn't do. You had billions in property damage in Trump's last year in office, and Democrats looked the other way. Did Kinzinger and Cheney and all the good Republicans who opposed Trump, did they condemn endless property damage and lives lost? Billions in property damage. all throughout that summer. And I agree with why people peacefully demonstrated. But I mean, it's like you have celebrities. There was one 90s band. There's a bunch of 90s bands who claim, like, even the whole point of being like a rock and roll star is that you're going to be an individual. But you have everybody from punk to rock and roll to all different types of musicians. They're just blindly adhering to the public relations narrative about Trump. And they never even once questioned why the U.S. government, media, and others, Democrats, accused Trump of being an operative of the Kremlin. They never pushed back or condemned the absurd Russia hoax. They never said, well, I don't like Trump, but you know what? There's no evidence that he was part of the Kremlin. I didn't see any of these celebrities speak on, defend Trump. Trump was innocent. There was not a shred of evidence that pointed to him being working for another country. But this is the type of insidious nonsense that Democrats are just fine with, that the morally superior are just fine with. These musicians who you would think would be against that type of thing are fine with it. Anyway, they might be fine also with deleting records. So that is a felony. So when Trump says, and media's like, oh my God, he wants to imprison Liz Cheney. Oh my God. If Liz Cheney committed a felony, if anyone destroyed congressional records, they too would be imprisoned. So if Liz Cheney or Kinzinger or others, if they happen to destroy congressional records, well, okay, that's a crime. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel, everybody. Thank you so very much. I will see you tomorrow, everyone. Thanks, everybody. God bless you all.